So, in vitro, they detected that he had an abnormality in his heart, like two holes in his heart, and that on his left finger he was missing digits. But they originally diagnosed him with Holt-Oram syndrome, and things like that. When he was born, after looking at him and doing tests, they determined that wasn't it. Um, so they originally, when he was born, did a genetics test and nothing came back. It actually wasn't until um, 2021 that they decided to do another genetics test, and then that's when it determined that he had Kleefstra syndrome. So when he was 4, it was heartbreaking, like very isolating. Um, yeah, it's just it was very heartbroken, very isolating. Um, People, when taking him to the doctor, some people like would look at us like we're crazy and like we're exaggerating his symptoms and things he goes through, um, and things like that. So,
I mean, it was a double-edged sword. It was a stress reliever, and yet at the same time, always is the question, why us? So it was a stress reliever in that now we actually knew what the situation was, what it was going to be like moving forward. Even though it's a rarity, this diagnosis, at least we still had our questions answered. The stressful part about it is always forward thinking is what this is going to be like for him as he gets older. Not so much as us doing the work as parents, because that's what we signed up for. But what's life going to be like for him? And that part has always given me a little high level of anxiety. So yeah.
I was gonna say I always tell people it's bittersweet. Like we actually get that common question of how you felt when you got the diagnosis or how do you feel. It's bittersweet because it's good to have a diagnosis, but it was disheartening knowing that there was little to no research, and things like that, and especially like in the medical field of how to treat, how to support, what to do. That was bittersweet.
Up early, because he wakes up, sometimes crack of dawn. Most days crack of dawn, he wakes up early. And so
between 5 and 6:30.
Yeah, so we get up early, then we got to get his oatmeal on, because he loves oatmeal. He'll eat that all day. But get his oatmeal on so it can be made and then cool down. Feed him. After that, get him, dressed for school while we're getting ready for our day.
Good thing he loves oatmeal and not caviar.
Yeah. So send him out, to school. His provider picks him up, brings him home about 2, 3.
It depends on the day.
Depends on the day, and then he works with his what's it, ABA specialist till about 6, and then or 6, 7, and then from that point on, then we're full go on giving him our undivided attention. Whether it's reading to him, playing with his remote control car with him.
Electronics to keep him calm.
Yeah, let him terrorize his dog. We have a pit bull bully, and so they have like the same personality. It's so strange. They terrorize each other, and then on days when he has baths, we'll put him in the bath. Thankfully, he loves water, so we never have to worry about him being a stinky teen, because he loves the water.
Mm-hmm.
And so on the days he has baths, we give him a bath. Then we not struggle, but it's a give and take to get him out the water, because he wants to stay in. But
he'll take a minimum of an hour bath.
Yeah, but he'll start.
Relatable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll start to fall asleep, and so we'll get him out the bath, get him dried off, lotioned up, pajamas, and then try to lay him down for bed. Once he's off to sleep for about an hour or so, then the BiPAP machine, got to put that on for him to get a good night's sleep. Because if he doesn't have that machine on when he wakes up in the morning, everybody watch out, because he's going to tear up everything. So that's pretty much a typical day, Sunday to Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, at first glance, it might seem like, added work, a bit of a different reality. What are some bright sides and positives to having a child with Cleistra that maybe aren't evident immediately?
He is the most loving person ever. He loves, and I think that's what people see when they first see him. He smiles, even when he was younger and going through all the surgeries and in pain, and he is a really loving. He will smile at you, give you a hug. He's very, very loving. He loves his family, and he loves his dog.
And he loves basketball.
Which team?
Whatever team his brother's playing on.
I didn't know if there was an early allegiance.
No.
Nah, but he's the type of kid, he'll see somebody and he'll just notice something about them, and he'll just walk right up to them and he'll grab their hand and he'll start doing his little dance. But yeah, he's definitely allowed us to think about, how we interact with young people with special abilities, just it's completely different now for us. We both work in education, so it's been eye-opening, to say the least. So I'm a school teacher by trade, looking to get into administration, but yeah.
I'm a social worker. Yeah, so, I define, when we found the Cleistra community, we found it actually on Facebook. And so I feel like Cleistra syndrome and then I define, they came together as one, and things like that. And so, I look at them as one. And so when I found, when I first got the call from the doctor, they were like, it's a little community, do your research, and I found them on Facebook. And so ever since I joined the Facebook group, Cleistra syndrome, I define, came into play.
Well, that's kind of why we're here. We were here at the last conference and now here again because we feel it's super beneficial to us, not just the research, but how to, interact and move with this disability that our child's been diagnosed with. So it's all those things. So everything from how to move forward and, how to deal with it from a medical standpoint as well.
Yeah. And it's definitely also rewarding because I consider myself a little activist and getting people to understand more about Cleistra syndrome, and also the importance of getting genetic testing done, because that's the only way that truly you can find Cleistra syndrome. And so just being able to spread the word of it and being a part of this journey, I think it's exciting. It makes you also excited about his future. He's only 7, so it definitely makes me excited about his future, because coming to the conference or just talking to people online, and you hear there was today there's a person who's 30 and didn't find out until they were in their 20s, and for me that made my heart break, so even though I feel we're a little behind in finding out, but it also makes it rewarding because of hearing all the research being done, sleep, especially because he struggles with sleep, and different things like that. And so being able to be a part of it and talking about his journey and different things like that, it definitely it just gives you hope.
Yeah, what do you?
The hope and the dream. I mean, I would hope. Well, obviously, in doing a lot of research, especially specifically the United States, I would hope that we could get a universal healthcare system, to where things can be more documented, because there is a lot of there's probably a lot of misdiagnosis with children and families. And so that's just really a hope and a dream, because of, that's just the most important thing. And then just also, from the medical aspect, just being able to have more supports and services around it and not having to jump through hoops. So the first step that, like we heard today, is getting the code, and for it to be able to be a billing purposes, for tracking purposes, which is great. But it would be hopeful, or looking in the future of not us having to jump through hoops and hurdles to get him services, and explaining what cholesterol syndrome is. Yes.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. Is my hope for the futures is for the folks who are not in this position that we're in, because I can't imagine what it's like for folks who are out there whose children are going through the same as ours and have no idea, because they have been able to get genetic testing. So I hope that this becomes something that becomes universal. Like she just said, universal healthcare, but everybody being able to have access to genetic testing, so they can know what the situation is with their loved ones, because it's definitely not easy to go through not knowing what's going on, what's happening, what's transpiring, and we all don't have access.
Yeah, I would say getting connected is the most beneficial, positive thing to be able to help and to understand. And I think that's just the most important thing of finding more people, either directly in the community where you live or in the outskirts, even on social media. It just gives you like a hope in the future, because cholesterol syndrome is so spread as far as what it looks like, the strands, the mild versus severe. And it is very isolating. Like when you're in the hospital, when you're going through procedures and treatment, it is very, very isolating. And even though you may have a family and support that may be wonderful and support you, they really don't understand what you're going through. So I feel like for I Define in the cholesterol syndrome community, it has made us feel, it normalizes our experience. So I think it's very important to find individuals that, again, have cholesterol syndrome, whether it's great if you could find someone in the same age or, like I said, the same strand, but it's definitely good to haul in to either getting connected with I Define, obviously, just for the research purposes and things like that, but more so like literally the community. They have been the I Define and the cholesterol syndrome community has like awakened me and make me feel very, very hopeful and positive about his future.
Yeah, I would just say don't be afraid to reach out. It's, as she said, it's very isolating. So reaching out and connecting with, don't be ashamed of it. Don't let it dissuade you from contacting folks who have similar experiences. You're going to discover that you're not alone. Many folks are going through the same things that you're experiencing, and it's it's funny, but even the behaviors of our children, we can relate to each other. We laugh about it now and say, oh, my kid likes to pull hair, and they say, oh, my kid likes to pull hair too, and so. But you won't find these things out if you don't reach out. And when you reach out, you'll meet with like-minded folks who are going through similar situations, and they can share tips, tricks, skills things that they've learned along the way. They can point you in the right direction. They can help provide you with more resources or resources that they've had. So it's community that's embracing and will never let you feel alienated or alone. But you as a person have to take the first step to make that call.
I know. I can't thank iDefine and Dr. Kalisha and all the other doctors and researchers for doing what they are doing and have done. Although it's very little, it definitely is very impactful and things like that. And so I'd say obviously thank you to iDefine. And then also not just an organization, but I also want to give a shout out to Jeff and his family, because it takes a lot to run an organization, and I don't think people really understand the sacrifices that he makes. And I know that the sacrifices that he makes, even for his family and things like that, and to have a daughter to have Kalisha syndrome, they are the most welcoming, embracive, reliable, available people. And so it's just amazing to be able to have them at right there.
Always there to support.
Yeah.
Well, however they can, they'll make a way.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'll add is just my heart just goes out to folks out there who don't have the resources to get these type of supports medically, and I just couldn't imagine where we would be if we weren't in our situation right now. To be able to get all the supports and services we do for our kiddo, it's really amazing. So again, like I said, my heart really goes out to folks who don't have those resources and who don't even have a diagnosis yet for their kiddo. So that's the part that really makes me feel blessed.